Hey, good afternoon, Facebook people. It's Andy Mangum, the regional minister at the Christian Church in the Southwest. Glad that you're tuning in. If you're tuning in, maybe you'll swing by this later on. But right now it's Tuesday afternoon, and we're looking forward to the Regional Assembly, the Christian Church in the Southwest. It's in Tyler, at least I will be in Tyler, but it's actually online. And so we're allowing people, not allowing, we're going to encourage people to participate wherever they are, as long as they've got a computer connection or cell phone connection, they can look at what's taking place in Regional Assembly. Today, I think Nathaniel wants us to highlight the business meeting. The most exciting part of Regional Assembly every year is the business meeting where we have people vote to approve a number of things. This year, our business meeting is going to include a State of the Union, State of the Region address, sorry about that, State of the Region address, some updates on where we are and initiatives that we have going. We'll also be nominating and hopefully approving a slate of really exciting officers that will be joining the Regional Council and guiding the Regional Council for the next couple of years, as well as proposing our regional budget. All of that stuff is necessary for us to get done. So we do need you to participate and be a part of that. Look forward to having that. And I think there's some other questions maybe Nathaniel, might have us answer.
Yes, thank you, Andy. So I think one of the questions is how are we going to know who our voting members are and clergy, right? So I'm going to put us all on a gallery view so we can see each other. And Whitney, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about who is getting a vote and who those voting delegates and members would be so that people kind of have an idea. I'm going to try and share a screenshot of that image that we've been sending out and see if I can spotlight you and myself. But if you want to talk about that first, I'll get the other stuff up later. Oh.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you. Sorry, I'm working in all of the new magic that you have going on right now, and my Zoom is giving me like very funny little briefings. So anyway, working through that. So one of the really wonderful things about being in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ is the reality that we are a denomination that genuinely wants the voices of as many people as possible to be heard and made known when we gather together. And so a big piece of that when we are gathering together is making sure that we have voting members present with us. So who is a voting member? If you are clergy within the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the Southwest region, serving here and have standing as a commissioned or ordained minister, then you have a vote. If you are within the life of your congregation, a lay member who has been designated as one of the voting members to represent your congregation, you have a vote. So each congregation, by virtue of existing and being a part of this region, has two members who are encouraged, invited, and we are hoping will represent them in voting. This is because we want to hear from as many people as possible in the decisions that we make as the life of church together. It's also because, quorum is a really fun thing to have achieved. In order for us to achieve that officially, what we need to have are 100 congregations represented of the congregations we have here in the region. And from those 100 congregations, 300 voting members. So yeah, that's a little bit. Nathaniel, are there particulars that you want me to go over in terms of how you vote or anything like that? Or you want to?
Sure, let me share my screen. Is
Perfect.
This showing up for people? Awesome. And I'm going to see, I think you're spotlighted. We're all spotlighted. This is so exciting. Zoom just updated everything, so it all looks slightly different. So as you said, clergy and ordained, clergy who are ordained or commissioned with good standing. What about those who are in regional council? So I know that we have some laity and some clergy. So how do we differentiate? Is it those on regional council who are clergy or just those who are laity who are getting a vote on behalf of regional council?
Go ahead, Andy.
The clergy have a vote by standing of their clergy status, you never get 2 votes. So you only always get 1 vote. So members of the regional council get to vote as members of the regional council. It would give a vote to the lay people in that capacity.
Got it.
Were you gonna, I saw hand gestures there that made me think.
That was my 2 votes.
Oh, right. No, put 1 hand
It
down.
was a really good joke to make in a Zoom formatted meeting. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. Right.
So the other thing that's a little different for congregations, we all know that every congregation, as you just said earlier, Whitney, that they all get 2 votes no matter what. But what about our congregations who have active membership over 200 people?
Yeah, so if you have a congregation where your active membership is above that threshold of 200, you get 1 additional voting representative per 100 people over 200. So if you're a congregation that has 500, then you have 3 additional representatives who are given a vote. And you can do the math from there, really. But so as soon as you enter over that 200 threshold, then you have 1 additional voting member that is yours for every 100.
Awesome. I think I'm going to stop sharing. Look at this. Here, Christy, you should get in. So how do people go about, 1, registering for a regional assembly, and 2, why is it important for people to register for regional assembly, especially when it comes to voting?
I'll speak up. I'm going to put a challenge out there too with this. So you register for regional assembly by going to our website, ccsw.org/RA2020. Yeah, okay, there we go. I was doing that from memory, so good job, Christy. And you can go there, or if you follow our Eventbrite page, you can register straight from the Eventbrite page as well. You register there. It is a free event, and so you will not be charged. It is important, though, we are asking for donations. This does cost us, and so we are, if you feel called to donate, you can do that there as well. But you register. It's important to register, 1, for the reasons that were listed already about having a voice and being heard, but that's not just in the business meetings, that's participating in worship, being present at the workshops that you can learn various things from. Our theme of crossing the threshold has expanded and given us plenty of opportunities to broaden what that looks like, where the threshold that the church is moving through and to. But I want to put a challenge out there. My challenge is this. We have a good number of people registered, and it is heavy with clergy. Yay, clergy, for getting registered. But there just are not as many lay people who have registered for this event. So my challenge is for those leaders in the church that are lay leaders to go ahead and get out there and get registered. It is important for you too, whether you're a voting member or not. You will learn from everything that is offered. I hope that you will grow and be able to see the community of the region worship and learn together. But the challenge also is for those clergy. It's your job too to get out there and get your lay members, make sure that you have communicated to them about regional assembly. So it would be nice, it would be great if, whether you're a voting member or not, if we have from each of our congregations at the very minimum 5 people attending. Wouldn't it be great if there were 10 or 20 from certain congregations attending regional assembly? And so that's my challenge for you today. We'll mark right now, Nathaniel will mark how many registrations we have right now, and then we will look again we'll give you 24 hours because you might need to discern whether you have the time to do this or not. But we'll look again. My friends and colleagues on this call didn't know I was going to put this challenge out, and so they're wondering where I'm going with this. But we'll look again in 24 hours and see how many we have there, and maybe we'll come up with some way to celebrate that during regional assembly. And so that's my challenge. Get out there and participate. It is easy in these days to feel isolated and alone, and this is a great way for you to realize that you are not doing this work with God alone. There are plenty of us out there doing it, and we will gather this weekend together to show that and to worship together.
All right, we've heard the challenge. So dates to remember for Regional Assembly is that there are pre-assembly workshops starting on October 9th, which is this Friday, at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Central Time. It will be a CCSW Learn Theology class with the Reverend Dr. Michael Miller from Bright Divinity School. We have a Healthy Boundaries course taught by our own Christy Drexel in English. And then we also have a Spanish language Healthy Boundaries that is going to be taught by Evangelina Perez. And they will be happening at the same time. So if you need the Spanish language Healthy Boundaries, that registration is open and available to you. And then opening worship that evening, starting at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Central Time. Whitney, the Reverend Whitney Waller Cole, will be our opening guest preacher. Yay. And there will be, we are doing our best to make sure that we have Spanish language interpretation available live on all of our streaming platforms, so Facebook and YouTube. The following day, there will be a Welcome to Assembly on October the 10th, starting at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. And then you'll have a schedule that you can find on our website. But the other thing to note is the business session will start at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Central Time, and it will be on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube with Spanish interpretation live, instantaneous. So if you need that, we will have a call-in number that you can use from any device so that you can have Spanish language interpretation as needed. Is there anything else I'm missing, Andy or Whitney?
I would say just a word too in knowing that we are going to be streaming all of these aspects of worship, that they are all there available for you, specifically to the business session. While we've talked a lot about voting members, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I belong to a congregation where our voting slate has been spoken for. And so am I still able to be present and hear what's going on in the life of the church and hear those business items, know who the officers are who are being presented, what the budget looks like? Is there a space for me to ask questions? And the answer to those questions is yes, please come, please be involved and be a part of the life of the church. For folks who are voting members, they will be receiving the registration link to be invited into the Zoom webinar that will be for voting delegates. But for anybody else who's interested in listening in on that business session and asking questions, when we stream to those platforms, there will be folks who will be going through and making sure that any questions that come up during the business session, there's an opportunity to have those not only asked, but also answered. So please know that even if you're attending Regional Assembly as someone who is a non-voting member, your voice is still valued, and we definitely want you to be present for all of the wonderful things going on with workshops and with worship, but even with the business side of church too, because even our work is worshipful when we're doing it together.
Yes, thank you for that. Anything else I've forgotten? I do want to highlight our closing worship guest preacher is the Reverend Dr. Ramon V. Burton, who is the associate pastor at Garden Grove Christian Church in Houston, Texas. He is also a staff chaplain at Memorial Hermann Hospital, Texas Medical Center in, I think, Houston, Texas as well.
Right.
And you are not going to want to miss that on Saturday evening, starting at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time.
Ramon and I were in seminary together, and I heard a lot of sermons in those years that I was in seminary. I don't remember any of them except the sermon that Ramon preached. And there are things he said in that sermon that still echo in my soul, especially when I am feeling unstable or overwhelmed, or feel like I lack the courage and competence to do what God has called me to do. And to hear Ramon say, "On Christ the solid rock I stand," I can hear that voice, I can hear that echoing in my soul. And so I've heard him preach since then. He is one of the most powerful preachers I know. But personally for me, it's a joy to anticipate this regional assembly, knowing that someone who has been an important voice in my life for 20-something years is going to echo in the life of this region in an exciting way. And we've got Friday night, one of my favorite newer preachers, Whitney Waller-Cole. She's been doing it a while, but for me, she's newer in my orbit of people that I appreciate and value. So I'm very excited about the preachers we have for Regional Assembly.
Thanks, Andy. I'm very grateful that I'm Friday, which means that I'm before Ramon instead of after. So thank you.
You hold your own just fine.
Christy, do you think, is there anything else I've missed? I know that's a lot.
No.
I've covered a lot of information. We have covered a lot of information in a short period of time. So I want to make sure we don't miss anything.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. We will be sending out an email just for inquiry about the workshops that you will want to attend, just so that we can get an idea. So the workshop selection is not part of the registration process, but we will send out a follow-up email just to get an idea of which workshops you would like to attend. And there's a great list of them. And so those will not be available unless you are registered. We will not be pushing those out on Facebook. So you'll want to register so that you can get those links.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you to the three of you who joined me on this Zoom call. And I hope that we have lots more registrations as per Christy's call out to us. So let's, just take our registration numbers from about 200 to, let's say, 400? See if we can get 200 people
Sounds
registered
good.
in 24 hours. I think we can do it.
And if you're already registered and watching this and, hanging on every word we're saying, what a good opportunity to flex some of your evangelism muscles and send a text or an email or two with that registration link to your friends, to your fellow congregants, to people that you also want to see hanging out with you via Zoom and via Facebook as we do Regional Assembly together. So just a little practice, just send that link.
All right. That link can be found ccsw.org/RA2020. Everything you need to know about Regional Assembly is on that webpage. You don't have to go any further. Speaker information, workshop information, where to watch Friday night worship, where to watch Saturday night worship, all of the good things. So we hope to see you at Regional Assembly, and thank you so much for joining us today on our Facebook Live and YouTube Live video. Bye, everyone.